What is going on, everyone? I'm coming at you with some more One Piece gameplay, and today's match is between Arlong and Iceburg. Iceburg being one of those decks that we are so excited to see if we can make them work, and Arlong is a deck that I think is super fun. It's a hyper aggressive deck, and I actually think that, funnily enough, this deck actually does struggle into the matchup just because Iceberg plays a lot of 5-cost characters, and Arlong doesn't really deal too well when it comes to removal of those 5-cost characters outside of swinging over them. So you basically have to kind of go at face here, which we're going to do. Arlong swinging 7, pay 1, play a Charlotte Cracker here, and this is kind of the dream opening turn for Arlong every time. You basically want to mulligan for that Cracker, because getting this out means that if your opponent decides to swing at your life, you can take that, and then you're basically guaranteed to get another big swing off. We're going to see Peeply Lulu swing at life here. It's going to be a Charlotte Parasparrow, and we're going to pitch a Buzzcut Mochi from hand. It's a card that's removal, but only for 4 costs, and it does work well with Trigger because it can play a card from your hand, essentially. So now we're in a pretty commanding position already here. We're going to swing 8k at leader with Charlotte Cracker for double attack, and we're going to force our opponent to commit a Blast Breath early, which is going to mess up their Dawn a little bit here. We're also going to swing here with a Charlotte Parasparrow 5, and then we're going to swing 7 with Arlong to play another Charlotte Parasparrow. So the Arlong engine is rolling. A 7k swing is feeling pretty strong here, and they're going to opt to counter out of that. So getting pretty low on cards in hand already, and the Cracker is going to be live. We do have some cards in hand to potentially protect our Cracker. Is going to be sitting at 6k, which we're going to counter out 1k here. If we could protect this card, then it's going to be a nightmare for Iceberg here. So he's going to swing 5 at the Parasparrow. We're going to reveal top 3, and we have a couple of options. We're going to grab the Sanji here, just so that we can have a counter to protect our Charlotte Cracker if they go to swing at it. So they're going to go ahead here. Again, we're going to active our Dawn and see what kind of plays that we have. We are feeling pretty confident just because of the fact that they only have 2 cards in hand, and we're going to swing 7 here, pay 1 for a Kurobi, which is going to rest the Queen, and then we're going to swing at the Poly, which is going to go down here. And this definitely opens up the board for a big Cracker swing, which we're going to swing at the Queen. And that Queen's going to go down. They can't protect it here. And then we're going to swing 7 at Peeply Lulu, essentially just clearing the entire board. And now we're in a commanding position because all we have to do is weather the swing from the Rob Lucci, and we're in business. And they're going to go ahead and they're going to commit Dawn for the Kokoro, which is going to search. Kokoro is it's a good searcher. It's kind of like a Nami, but it's a 1-drop 2k. It feels pretty good. Rob Lucci, I think is good because it can rest characters when swinging, but they're going to go ahead and drop a Khalifa here, and they're going to pay 1 for the Iceberg to play a Peeply Lulu. And I believe they're going to try and kill this Cracker because it's enemy number 1. So they're going to swing at the Parasparrow instead. And I think at this point, we just want to keep things alive. So we're going to pitch a 2k counter to keep it alive. And because of that, we're in a position where we can potentially threaten lethal because they have 1 card in hand. So because they have 1 card in hand, it could be a 7k swing. But we're going to go ahead and Buzzcut Mochi the Khalifa because we have less life right now. And it's a 4 cost. So we'll get that off the board. And we're going to swing at the Lucci here to kill it. Because again, their hand's at 1, which means they're not going to be able to replenish it. And so just trying to think about the math on how we want to play this. We're going to swing our Parasparrow at the leader here. They're going to take it, and then we're going to swing leader at and play a Brulade as a blocker, and then we're going to pass turn. And while we could have gone really, really aggressive, we put ourselves in a position where we're not going to lose the game, and our opponent really cannot come back. We could have gone for life and potentially got them to 0 life at that point, but I don't know if it was necessary because our opponents all tapped out. Yeah, they can replenish the board a little bit with a Queen and a Kokoro searching, and then they can use the Iceberg effect to play something, but they're not really threatening our board. We're going to pitch a 1k here to protect, and then they're going to play a Poly, which is going to do nothing, essentially just a body. And then again, we can still keep swinging away. We have lots of Dawn available to us, and we have a pretty wide board here. So basically, we can swing with everything and just force our opponent to block or counter. So what we're going to do is we're going to swing 5 at Peeply Lulu. They're going to let that go away. That's completely fine with us here. And we're going to swing Cracker at life here for 8. and see if they want to block or counter. We're going to swing 6 at leader here. They're going to counter out. And then we're going to pay 6 for a Dawn Krieg just to put some pressure on the board. Again, we're not at risk of losing this turn. Just because Iceburg leader cannot attack, that's a huge detriment. Having a leader that cannot attack while also playing a deck that lacks removal. I think that the way you probably have to play Iceburg is you have to play him with the Animal Kingdom Pirates package, like King, Rush Kaido, and the Queens, as well as your stage, and then you want to go second instead of first, and then you can just use that to ramp as well as play these bodies, so you can have a good early game, and as well as you can have those removal cards to kind of out-tempo your opponent a little bit, and that way you have some high-end cards at your disposal. So again, I think it's definitely one of those decks that really needs a lot of playtesting. We're going to protect the Cracker here because we, again, don't want to go down. We want to keep as many attacking bodies on board as we possibly can. They're going to go ahead and rest one, and they're going to play a Kaku, just trying to set up for a position where they can win. But unfortunately, I think this is going to be the end of the road for Iceberg. There's just too many swings on board, too many bodies, and too many big attackers. Like Dawn Krieg is going to be swinging, you know, at 7k minimum. We're going to swing 8k at leader here. Again, it's going to force a card out of hand if they want to block. At least 2 cards out of hand, but they're going to let the poly die here to the Dawn Krieg swing. We're going to swing 8 at leader here, because if they didn't block for the poly, they're probably not going to block this swing here. We're going to swing 8 again at leader. Force them to give us a queen, or, yeah. And then we're going to go 8 again at leader here, and again, force a queen death. And then we're in a position where it's a commanding lead, but they're going to block with the queen and keep it alive, and they're going to pitch 2 cards from hand. Again, we're still in an extremely commanding position. They're not going to be able to kill everything in our hand, and so it's just going to come down to the fact that our opponent is so far behind at this point. You know, no life to 3 life with a full board with a blocker, and they're just going to go ahead and scoop. There's no way they can come back. And, you know, looking at the life here, we have a ton of great cards there. Great showing from Arlong, and Iceburg still unable to take one on the channel, but hopefully there's next time. But until then, Monty out.